The 1690s was arguably the worst time to have ever existed in Scotland. It was a period of Scottish history more depressing than the Bertie Vogts era. Harvest failures in the second half of the 1690s created the most severe mortality crisis faced in Scotland until the introduction of the deep fried Mars bar. At the height of the famine, mortality rates in some parts of the country were running as high as 20%, which is about the same as your average ICE agent. Outmigration caused by the worsening situation saw a 13% demographic decline in Scotland. This, coupled with a roughly 5% mortality rate across the population on the whole, positions the Scottish famines of the 1690s alongside the more well-known Great Famine of 1840s Ireland and the Highlands of Scotland in terms of its severity. Yet despite this, Brewers Fayre still somehow managed to hold on. No one really knows how they do it. The 1690s is pretty much universally accepted as one of the worst times to be alive in Scotland. Despite this fact, Rangers fans, they still love to sing about how great it was. But then again, their supporters do love to sing about famines. The picture painted of 17th century Scotland in this podcast has been one of a religious extremist, near feudalistic society now devastated in the 1690s by an almighty famine. And as much as this was the case in many respects, it doesn't tell the full story. In 1696, the Scottish Parliament passed the Act for the Setting of Schools, and this act is a substantial achievement of Scottish history. The act demanded that every parish in Scotland must provide a school and a schoolmaster that was paid for by the landowner. All children, boys and girls, were permitted to attend the parish schools regardless of their social standing, although for girls, there were fewer opportunities. Girls attended for fewer hours and often only when available places were not being taken up by boys. But nonetheless, this system of education made social mobility just about possible in Scotland, although Murrayfield Stadium remained the strict domain of the privately educated. The parish schools provided education for a wider cross-section of society than any other European nation at the time. By the middle of the 18th century, adult literacy rates in Scotland were around 75%, a number far greater than in England and most other European countries. Unlike countries such as Trump's 21st century America, 17th century Scotland actually valued and strived for an educated population.